This sign means A. Curve ahead. B. Roadwork ahead. C. Merging traffic. D. No left turn. A. Curve ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to an upcoming curve in the road. This road sign means A. Steep grade ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Low ground railroad crossing. D. Low clearance. D. Low clearance. This sign indicates that the overpass ahead has a low clearance. You should not proceed if your vehicle is taller than the height shown on the sign, in this case, 13 feet 6 inches. This sign means A. Pedestrians only. B. Intersection ahead. C. Hiking trails ahead. D. School crossing ahead. D. School crossing ahead. This sign indicates that a school crossing is ahead. This sign means A. Watch for trucks. B. Do not pass trucks. C. Truck parking area ahead. D. Steep downgrade ahead. D. Steep downgrade ahead. This sign warns of the presence of a hill ahead.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
This sign means A. No parking. B. Divided highway ahead. C. Left turn signal. D. Yield. A. No parking. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. This regulation sign indicates that parking is not permitted. This sign means A. Highway changes ahead and to the right. B. Hiking trails ahead and to the right. C. Hotel ahead and to the right. D. Hospital ahead and to the right. D. Hospital ahead and to the right. This sign indicates that hospital emergency services are located to the right. This sign means A. Emergency vehicles ahead. B. Uncontrolled intersection ahead. C. Four-way stop ahead. D. Traffic signal ahead. D. Traffic signal ahead. This sign warns that a traffic signal is ahead. This road sign means A. You must travel at the speed indicated. B. The maximum legal speed on the roadway is 55 miles per hour. C. You must travel through the intersection at the posted speed. D. None of the above. B. The maximum legal speed on the roadway is 55 miles per hour. This is a speed limit sign. It indicates the maximum legal speed that you may drive on the road where it is posted. At times of rain, snow, ice, or other less than ideal conditions, you may have to drive more slowly than the posted limit. What does this road sign mean? A. Slow down and prepare to stop if cars are approaching you. B. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. C. Proceed carefully through the intersection, not always stopping. D. Stop only for traffic on an intersecting road. B. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. A stop sign means that you must come to a full stop and yield the right of way to vehicles and pedestrians in or heading toward the intersection. Go again when it is safe. This sign means that A. A community service group is picking up trash along the highway ahead. B. Workers are on or very close to the road in the work zone ahead. C. Children are at play ahead. D. There is a pedestrian crosswalk ahead. B. Workers are on or very close to the road in the work zone ahead. This sign indicates that workers may be on or very close to the roadway ahead, so you should take special care when traveling through the area. High-occupancy vehicles, HOV, lanes are not reserved for A. High-occupancy vehicles. B. Carpools. C. Tractor-trailers. D. Motorcycles. C. Tractor-trailers. During heavy traffic periods, HOV lanes are reserved for buses, carpools, other high-occupancy vehicles, motorcycles, and certain clean special fuel vehicles. Increase your following distance when A. Driving behind a large vehicle that blocks your vision. B. Exiting an expressway. C. Following a motorcycle. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You should increase your following distance when you are behind a large vehicle that blocks your vision, when driving in bad weather or heavy traffic, when exiting an expressway, when behind a motorcycle or bicycle, and if someone is tailgating you. You are driving at night and another vehicle is approaching from the opposite direction. Your headlights? A. Should be on their high beam setting. B. Should be on their low beam setting. C. Should be off. Use your parking lights. D. May be on either their high or low beam setting. B. Should be on their low beam setting. Do not use your high beam headlights when approaching or following another vehicle at night. Switch to the low beam setting to ensure the safety of everyone on the road. An intersection has no traffic signs or signals. You arrive at the same time as a vehicle to your right. You should A. Speed up and get through the intersection. B. Slow down and yield to the vehicle on your right. C. Drive into the intersection and make the other vehicle stop. D. Honk your horn and drive through the intersection. B. Slow down and yield to the vehicle on your right. When two vehicles arrive to an uncontrolled intersection at the same time, the vehicle on the right has the right of way. Once the vehicle on the right has safely passed through the intersection, the other driver may proceed. The speed limit on interstate highways in designated rural areas is A. 50 miles per hour. B. 60 miles per hour. C. 70 miles per hour. D. 80 miles per hour. C. 70 miles per hour. The maximum speed limit on interstate highways in Virginia is 70 miles per hour. Compared to driving during the day, driving at night is A. Less dangerous. B. No more or less dangerous. C. More dangerous. D. Easier on your eyes. C. More dangerous. Driving at night is more dangerous than driving during the day for several reasons. It is harder to see in the dark. You may be temporarily blinded by the glare from other vehicles' lights, and there are likely to be more drivers on the road who are tired or under the influence. Road rage and aggressive driving may be reduced by A. Allowing extra travel time. B. Obeying posted speed limits. C. Using proper turn signals. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. As an increasing number of drivers populate the roadways, road rage becomes more prevalent. To help prevent road rage, a driver should use proper turn signals, obey posted speed limits, and allow plenty of travel time. You must yield the right-of-way to A. Pedestrians who are crossing a public street or highway. B. Funeral processions. C. Military convoys. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You must yield to pedestrians who are crossing the street at a marked crosswalk or at an unmarked intersection. You must also yield to, and not cut through or join, funeral processions and military convoys. You are waiting in the intersection to complete a left turn. You should A. Signal and keep your wheels turned to the left. B. Signal and keep your wheels straight. C. Flash your headlights so drivers will let you through. D. Drive around the rear of a car if it blocks you. B. Signal and keep your wheels straight. You must always signal before turning or changing lanes. You should keep your wheels straight while waiting to make a left turn. If another vehicle hits you from behind, this ensures that you will not be pushed into oncoming traffic. Which of the following statements is true? A. A sudden change in weather calls for a change in driving. B. You should slow down when driving in rain and fog. C. Be particularly aware of vehicles coming up behind you in inclement weather. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If the weather changes suddenly, you will need to adjust your driving to adapt. Always slow down when driving in rainy or foggy conditions. Be especially aware of vehicles behind you that may be going too fast for conditions. When driving in rain, you must A. Use low beam headlights. B. Use high beam headlights. C. Use parking lights. D. Use no lights. A. Use low beam headlights. In rainy conditions, you should use your low beam headlights. When driving on slippery roads, you should A. Use alternate routes. B. Drive as you would on dry roads. C. Increase your following distance. D. Avoid crossing bridges or intersections. C. Increase your following distance. On slippery roads, you should increase your following distance. It may take more time to stop your vehicle than it would under normal conditions. When driving in traffic, it is safest to A. Fluctuate your speed to keep alert. B. Drive faster than the flow of traffic. C. Drive slower than the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. Crashes often happen when some drivers go faster or slower than other vehicles on the road. Always try to drive with the flow of traffic, within the posted speed limit. When you see other drivers around you acting or reacting in anger, A. Don't make eye contact. B. Don't react with hand gestures. C. Distance yourself from the situation. D. All of these. D. All of these. When other drivers are behaving angrily, you should take action to physically and mentally distance yourself from the situation. Avoid making eye contact with them, or making body movements or gestures that could provoke them. Slow down, move over, or do whatever you safely can to put yourself out of danger. If an emergency vehicle with flashing lights is traveling in the area where you are driving, you should A. Speed up to avoid the emergency vehicle. B. Stop your vehicle immediately and prevent them from passing. C. Make every effort to give the emergency vehicle a clear path of travel. D. Signal to the emergency vehicle when it is clear for them to pass you. C. Make every effort to give the emergency vehicle a clear path of travel. If an emergency vehicle with flashing lights is traveling in the area where you are driving, you must make every effort to give them a clear path of travel. If it is safe to do so, pull your vehicle to the side of the road to give the emergency vehicle an open pathway. A flashing yellow light at an intersection means that you should A. Slow down and proceed with care. B. Continue normally through the intersection. C. Stop and proceed when a green light appears. D. Stop and proceed when the way is clear. A. Slow down and proceed with care. A flashing yellow light at an intersection means caution. If you approach such a light, slow down, look, and proceed with care. While driving on a two-lane road without bicycle lanes, you encounter a bicyclist traveling in the same direction. What is the safest way to pass the bicyclist? A. Slow down and wait until there is no traffic approaching, then pass the bicyclist while leaving him or her sufficient space. B. Continue driving straight. It is the bicyclist's responsibility to get out of your way. C. Do not pass the bicyclist until you come to a traffic signal or stop sign. D. Honk at the bicyclist to let him or her know you are about to pass. A. Slow down and wait until there is no traffic approaching, then pass the bicyclist while leaving him or her sufficient space. You should pass a bicyclist the same way you would pass any other vehicle, but not so fast or close to them that you throw debris in their face or blow them around with the draft of air from your vehicle. Allow at least 3 feet of space between your side mirror and the bicyclist, or at least 5 feet on higher speed roads or when there is a group of bicyclists. Honking unnecessarily may startle riders and make them more likely to crash. When an authorized vehicle using its sirens and flashing lights approaches a vehicle, the driver should pull to the right-hand edge of the roadway and wait for the emergency vehicle to pass. A. True. B. False. A. True. When being approached by an emergency vehicle that is using its lights and/or sirens, you must immediately pull to the right side of the road and allow it to pass. After being pulled over by law enforcement, a driver should immediately exit the vehicle and quickly approach the officer's squad car. A. True. B. False. B. False. If stopped by law enforcement, you should stay in your vehicle with both hands clearly in sight on the steering wheel. Virginia's curfew laws prohibit drivers under age 18 from driving from A. 8 p.m. until midnight. B. 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. C. Midnight until 4 a.m. D. 2 a.m. until 6 p.m. C. Midnight until 4 a.m. If you are under age 18, you may not drive between midnight and 4 a.m. with certain exceptions. When sharing the road with a truck, it is important to remember that trucks generally A. Require longer distances to stop than smaller vehicles do. B. Require less time to pass on a downgrade than smaller vehicles do. C. Require a smaller turning radius than smaller vehicles do. D. Require less time to pass on an incline than smaller vehicles do. A. Require longer distances to stop than smaller vehicles do. Because of their size, trucks need longer distances to stop than smaller vehicles do. If your turn signals fail, you should use fill in the blank to indicate that you are turning. A. Your horn. B. Your headlights. C. Hand signals. D. Your emergency flashers. C. Hand signals. If your vehicle's turn signals do not work, you should use hand signals to indicate when you intend to change direction. What happens if you drink alcohol while taking prescription or over-the-counter medicine? A. The medicine reduces the effect of the alcohol. B. The alcohol will help the medicine cure a cold. C. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol or medicine. D. There is no effect because they are different substances. C. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol or medicine. Consuming alcohol and other drugs together can increase the impairing effects of both. For example, having one drink while you are also using a cold remedy could affect you as much as several drinks would when being consumed separately from any medications. Is it legal cross a double solid yellow centerline to pass? A. Yes. B. No. C. If there is no oncoming traffic. D. If the vehicle ahead of you is driving under the speed limit. B. No. Two solid yellow lines down the center of a two-way road mean that neither lane of traffic may cross the lines, unless they are turning off of the roadway. A driver can cross double yellow lines when turning into or out of a driveway or entrance to a business. No passing is allowed over a solid yellow line. Signs indicating areas of public recreation are A. Orange. B. Red. C. Green. D. Brown. D. Brown. Signs that are brown indicate areas of cultural and historical significance or of public recreation. They can be a helpful resource when traveling in unfamiliar locations.